Well, welcome everybody to a very brief presentation of a project that Amy and I are working on called RCCO Webinars. So what I'm going to be talking about is the general overview of the project, the target audience for the project, the proposal for the webinar, and also the timeline for this project. So Amy and I have been tasked to create some webinars to respond to the community organizations and community partners saying, I don't know what the ACC program is, what is a RCCO, what is the point, how does it work, etc., etc. So really, it's going to be a webinar series, not just one, but a series for our community partners that will educate them about the RCCO program and the ACC program. Now, at this point, this project does not include webinars for providers or hospital and specialists. They are welcome to join in, but our focus for this project as well as this presentation is really for the community partners. Specifically, we're going to be targeting the county organizations that we've been getting feedback from, as well as community organizations that our RCCO members are showing a pretty high connection with already. For example, Amy put together this great table of which organizations specifically have a sizable number of members attached to them. There's a refugee and immigration services through Lutheran. You can see that actually Lutheran Family Services have various mentions in this table, and that they actually have quite a sizable member population who use them as their target, as their contact information. So again, we would be targeting the community resources, meaning these targeted audience organizations, as well as the county's organizations that have been giving us feedback. So here's a proposal of the first two webinars in the series. Now remember, again, this will be a series, and it's also for community. And the first one we'd like to do is really a 30,000-foot overview of the Accountable Care Collaborative Program, and really explaining what is the ACC. Here are some helpful links and key contacts, kind of at the HCPF level, as well as the overview of all the RCCOs. What is the purpose of all the RCCOs? Who are all the RCCOs? What is this thing called the SDAC? Those are 5 topics that Amy and I feel pretty comfortable and confident with. We did get some feedback that we might also want to cover fee for service. And one thing, a question that Amy and I had for you all is, while the county organizations might find relevance with that topic, do you think the community organizations like the refugee centers would find that information relevant? Again, this is a 30,000-foot view. And so your feedback on if we should include the fee for service, the payment component to the doctors, or how the doctors get paid, would that be helpful at the big ACC overview level or not? Would love your feedback on that. The second webinar in the series would descend, if you will, to about the 10,000-foot level and talk more about Colorado Access, our job at managing the RCCOs for 2, 3, and 5, and also the member experience. So kind of recapping what we talked about in the first series about what does the Colorado RCCO system look like, what about Colorado Access, what is our role, what member supports are there, how can members be in contact with us, who they can contact with us, various member materials that folks receive, and helpful links. Again, to give community partners an idea of who we are as Colorado Access RCCOs, as well as when someone enrolls in the ACC program and they live in regions 2 or 3 or 5, this is kind of what they go through, this is the materials they receive, and this is really the process that they experience. What we also want to do, so each one of these would be an hour long, but after it's over, we're going to chunk up, we're going to break apart the webinar into individual modules. Best practices in adult learning state that adults are self-directed, meaning they will pick out what they want to know because it's relevant to them for whatever reason. So if I'm part of the county, I know what ACC is, but I don't really know what the purpose of the RCCOs are. Well, then I can just click on the purpose of the RCCOs and watch that segment of the webinar. So again, the first time out, we would do the full hour, cover all these topics. But once we have the recording, we'd edit it into chunks and lay it out to where someone could click on a topic and the video would pop up. So that's kind of step 2 of each webinar we would go through, is again, have the webinar in an hour format, people join in live, and then they can watch recorded. They can watch all of them if they want to watch the whole entire thing in its entirety, or they can pick and choose topics based on what they need to know at that particular moment. At the end of each webinar, we want to get their feedback because we want to make sure that our webinars are truly meeting their educational needs. And so the webinar software provides a automatic survey tool, which we will employ. And we thought about asking the attendees questions like, what is one thing you learned from the webinar that you didn't know? What do you have a better understanding of now? What would you like to learn more about? And then give them a couple of topic choices that they could rank for us as far as what would then the third webinar series be about. This is really going to help us tighten up the process for these webinars to make sure that we are really meeting their educational needs. The first 2 that I've already explained really go after kind of the feedback we've gotten from our community partners about what they kind of want to know about us and the ACC program. Using the feedback from these questions would help us with like the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th in the series of these webinars would really help us say, oh, we had no idea that you really wanted to focus on how to select a PCMP. Well, we could do a whole webinar on how to select a PCMP if that was of high interest and high value to the attendees. So here's the kicker. It's the project timeline. And this is why I wanted to provide this recording to you, because we need approval from you all of this concept. Now this, again, isn't the fully executable plan. This is just the high concept of this project by March 26th. Then, using your feedback and your questions, then Amy and I will have the webinar created by April 23rd. We're not going to hold it by April 23rd. We'll just have it done and ready for you all to review by May 2nd. And then we get your approval of the webinar. And we really want to launch this webinar before the HSAG audit, so no later than May 31st. We give ourselves a little bit of time to complete the lessons learned, and then, like I've already said, we'll use the feedback in designing the 2nd, and then really the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, and so on. So just email Amy or I any questions that you have about this. Again, we need to kind of know your thoughts by the 26th of March. And I also wanted just to talk quickly about the technology. So this has actually been recorded using what's called screen capture technology. And I really want to explore using this for new practice orientations because we can use this technology to go over a PowerPoint. If you all have orientation PowerPoints of this is what I do, and you want to have it on VC3 so you can just send people to that link. We can do our own little tutorial about the SStack using this. So this really is a way to record your screen and your voice as a tutorial format. So exciting technology. This is how I recorded this, and I'm excited to explore this as well as creating a series of webinars for community partners. So thank you very much.